think that was. We could have probably kept going a whole lot longer than that.
Sure.
The ending was more for y'all than it was for us. I think we were having a good time just playing together and getting to relax a little bit at the end of the day.
Great.
So anyway, wow, Johnny, it's so great to have you here.
Oh man, thank you, Steve. It's awesome, brother.
Just as we're getting going here, kind of tell us a little bit about your journey. Where did you grew up in Maine? Is that right?
I did. Yeah, I grew up in a real small town in Maine, man, called Woodland, Maine, which now I guess they refer to as Baileyville. And it's a town of about 2,500 people, and all mill workers. There's Georgia Pacific Paper Mill was there when I was a little boy, and I guess it's now changed hands a few times. But my dad was a veteran pipe fitter, a journeyman pipe fitter, and a welder for GP, and it was really cool, man. I really it was neat growing up with a dad that was so involved in fixing things. I remember when I got my first Strat, was the very first electric that my dad bought me, and I remember he took it out in the woodshed and he goes, "Hey, come here," and he had the Strat in every, it was just in 1,000 pieces, and I'm going, I thought my dad was, I thought he would just ruin the guitar, but he put it all back together and did a fine job. So
now, when did you start playing?
Man, I started playing guitar when I was 3, believe it or not.
Really?
I had my first guitar when I was 2 and a half, and to be honest with you, it was a dream come true for me, looking back, because my aunt had brought my dad over his father's 1939 J45.
Wow.
And it was all beat up. It had sat in an attic, but it really became like my security blanket. I kind of became like Linus with a security blanket, from Peanuts. But the guitar was really old and beat up, but I just drug the thing everywhere, man. It was, in case you folks out there don't know, I was born with an eye disease called nystagmus, and I am legally blind, and for some reason, man, the gift from God hit me when that guitar became my better half, really, because it went with me everywhere I went. So.
Did you come from a musical family?
Well, my dad played drums in the 60s in a little band back home, and of course my dad's father, who I was named after, his name was John William Hiland. They called him Hike Hiland when he played on the radio back in the day up in Maine, but that was his J45, and he played the old 30s and 40s style. But really, my grandma and my granddad on my mom's side played a little piano, stuff like that. So.
Now, because you are just the king of country and Chickin Pickin and all of that sort of stuff, how did that influence meet you as a little kid up in Maine?
Well, I'll be honest with you, man. There's a lot of bluegrass festivals in Maine, so I
guess that's right.
I started in the bluegrass realm of things, and it didn't take my mom and dad long to realize that music was going to be my life. I mean, I played 22 instruments and was really blessed to never really have to work hard at any of them. I mean, I'd pick up a fiddle for the first time, and in 10 minutes I'm sawing sawing an old Joe Clark or something on it, and then Dad would throw me in the show, but it was music was such a blessing for me growing up. I mean, I remember being told I could never drive a car at 16, and that would just devastate most kids out there. But for me, it was just, oh well, give me my guitar,
That's right.
And so I mean, I really, I look back at that now and go, man, it was just a blessing that God gifted me with the talent to play guitar.
That's right. Well, it is certainly a blessing to hear you and be a part of all the amazing things that is going on in your life. How did you end up in Nashville?
Well, I'll be honest, man. I had dreamed of going to Nashville since the first TV show I ever did at 7 years old. It was Dick Stacy's Jamboree when I was a little boy, and I used to. At the age of 10 is when I actually really started playing guitar, the real way.
Yeah.
My dad used to tune a guitar to an open E chord, and I'd set it on my lap like Jeff Healey and use my thumb to walk the bass line.
Yeah.
And when I did Dick Stacy's Jamboree on the old J45, the steel player kept looking over my shoulder thinking I was playing a lap steel or something. But as a young boy growing up, I knew like every Willie and Waylon song and Merle Haggard and Webb Pierce and all the old country stuff, because my grandparents, my grandpa especially on my mom's side, Buddy Ryder was his name. He gave me a whole bag of 8 tracks. It was nothing but old country, and I just gravitated toward that, and just loved it. So I knew a whole plethora of songs, and of course went on to do TV shows and stuff after my mom and dad found I wasn't coming home off the school bus because I was too busy entertaining the crew. But But honestly, man, I for my first TV show, I swore one day I'd play the Grand Ole Opry, and of course everyone at home laughed, thought it was funny. This blind kid up there trying to play Willie Nelson, And
Yeah.
but really, man, my dad took me to see Ricky Skaggs play when I turned 10. When I started playing guitar the real way.
Yes.
And Ricky just so inspired me to put the acoustic down and grab an electric guitar. He was really the first entertainer who just wowed me as a kid, And then of course Dad took me to see the Outlaws and a few other bands. So I've always had that love for the southern rock side of things. The Outlaws, Blackfoot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my dad was a big slide guitar fan. He loved all the old Allman Brothers stuff. And so he always made me wear a slide on my pinky, which was really funny. That's most of the time people ask me, Johnny, you're a 3-finger player. And I always tell them, yeah, because my dad used to make me wear a slide all the time.
That's right.
But honestly, man, that's really what inspired me to play electric guitar. I was ready to put the acoustic down, and of course, I had really wanted a Telecaster from seeing Ricky, but nobody in Maine knew what a B-bender was, that's for sure. Nor did I know that Ricky actually did use a B-bender.
Yeah.
But Telecasters had sold out at that time, so my dad was a Clapton fan and a Jimi Hendrix fan, so I got a Strat.
Yeah, there you go.
So
now, what are you playing on today?
Man, I'm playing a beautiful Ernie Ball Silhouette here, man. I've been with Ernie Ball for about a year and a half as an endorser, and man, I'll tell you what, I have a new love affair going on, Steve.
Yeah.
These guitars are just phenomenal. I'm working with. I'm in the search for the right pickup right now. So I'm using David Allen pickups, and he's designed these Strat-style pickups that really respond like a Telecaster.
And who's that, David Allen?
David Allen, he runs D. Allen pickups.
Okay, all right.
And so I'm checking out his pickups, and of course, a lot of the Silhouettes and a lot of the Ernie Ball guitars come stock with DiMarzios, and I know Steve Blischer and all those boys.
Yeah.
DiMarzio are just wonderful guys, man, and but honestly, man, I've never played a finer guitar as far as feel and comfort, and for the Chickin Pickin thing, it's the best guitar I've ever played.
Can you give us kind of a tour of the sounds that guitar can
Yeah, well, it's kind of set up like a Strat, and of course, as you can see, like any other Strat, I've lost my tip on my switch, but as you can hear, it's if you start all the way in the bridge position, it gives you a real kind of a telly spanking tone. And then if you move up one click, you're in the second position, and so you have that real kind of Steve Wariner. Gives you a nice little, second position groovy tone.
Yeah.
Then the third position is your middle pickup. And I love doing that. The old Chet stuff. Carried away in the chest stuff any day of the week too, but the fourth position, is kind of I use for funky rhythms. And then, of course, you heard the neck pickup earlier for the kind of blues thing we were. You know, it's fun for the jazzier. But I love it because it has a nice round sound.
Yes,
you know,
it does.
What David's done is really created a set of pickups that respond like a telly, sound like a telly in the bridge position.
Yeah.
But he kind of really customized these to me in a way because they're, you know, the neck pickup actually sounds more like a Texas Special and a kind of a cross between a Texas Special and an old DeArmond pickup, and just some really fun tones, man, on this guitar.
Good.
I really love it.
Now, what kind of gear are you running through? I know the guys can't really see it, so we'll have to just describe it. Maybe we can get a picture of this and put it up on the website here tomorrow. But
I'll be honest with you, Steve. I've got a brand new Johnny Hiland signature wah pedal out with gig effects.
Right.
And man, I'm in love with this pedal. It's so fun. And even a country boy has to have a wah pedal, folks. You know how it is. But actually, down here, I'm running the new Boss TU3 tuner, my Johnny Hiland wah pedal, and then I'm running a Boss CS3 compressor, a Redshift pedal, which is a distortion pedal made by Brad Jetter out of Atlanta. So to all you Atlanta folks out there, if you're looking for the greatest distortion pedal, man, go see Brad and tell him Johnny sent you.
And what's his company's name?
It's called Jetter. Jetter Pedals.
G-E or
J-E-T-T-E-R.
Yep. Okay.
Jetter pedals. And man, I'm really the first time I heard that pedal, I just went crazy, man. I couldn't believe it. I had it on my board instantly. So then I'm using the ISP Decimator, which takes a lot of noise out. You know, anyone knows that when you plug an amp in and you run a compressor and a distortion together, you're going to have some kind of amp noise. You know, that just happens. Yeah. Nature of the beast. So it's not really a gate. It just reduces the noise, which is fun and keeps things clean for me when I do sessions and whatnot. Good. And then, of course, I'm running the Arion Chorus, which was actually re-released by Exotic. And I love this pedal for doing, you know, like if you're doing rhythm, that kind of sounds like a Leslie. It has a real nice.
Does have a Leslie.
It's got like kind of a vibey thing, you know, like
yeah.
the skating rink vibey thing, you know, which I have a lot of fun with, man. And of course, it's a wonderful chorus, you know.
Yeah.
Then I've got your basic Boss tremolo, which is fun for the old country stuff, you know. If you're doing drop D tuning or yeah, I've got the Digitech hardwired delay looper, and of course I'm powering everything with a Voodoo Lab power supply 2. And all my cables are Analysis Plus cables, and the new Johnny Hiland signature cable, which you can tow a truck with.
Those are thick but very good sounding cables.
Oh man, it's the cleanest sound in the world. And I tease people, or I have actually been teased in the past with people saying, "Man, you could tow a truck with those things." But honestly, folks, when we're on the road, you know, and you're playing outdoor gigs or a number of different gigs with different bands, you know, road crews are, you know, they'll roll amps over your chords and stuff like that. Yeah. So I was really impressed with how clean the signal was in Analysis Plus cables and how rugged they were. So I've actually literally had cables break from people rolling stuff over them. So so I love the the craftsmanship behind what they build here, you know, with Analysis.
And your amp is just getting an amazing sound. What do you?
Man, this is my newest find, Steve, and I would love to get a shot at the end of the broadcast here for you folks to see. This is a new amp on the market called the Bolt,
And who's it made up? Who's it made by?
It's made by XP Audio, and they do motion sound stuff. They do the Morpheus pedals, but this new amplifier, man, is the most clean, versatile amp you've ever heard. I can range anywhere from from the cleanest country tone to like raw Pantera, gritty overdrive that'll just make your mama want to rip her hair out. So, I mean, but really the versatility in the amp is just phenomenal, man. And it's it's a tube amp. It's 6L6s. It's got Celestion speakers in it, which is awesome. Vintage 30s.
Yeah.
It's 100 watt switchable down to 50, and but there are 3 separate channels in this amp, and what I love about it are there are 3 separate voicings within each channel. So if I'm playing a clean country tone and I want to get instantly to a Danny Gatton tone with some more grit to it, I can flip the voicing switch down to the 2nd position, crank the gain knob, and I'm in Danny Gatton land. Which for most people, it's been really hard to achieve that within. You either have an amp that's ultra clean and you can't get any grit out of it, or you have a really dirty amp if you crank it past 5 or what have you. So it's really just amazing to have that versatility at my fingertips, man. It's awesome.
Well, it gets a great sound. And one thing I just so appreciate about your playing is you just seem to effortlessly flow between blues and country and rock. You seem to have just be able to go and mix all these styles and all of your techniques in between all of these different styles.
Well, I think it's important as a someone who wants to become a guitar artist is that the most important thing is to find your own identity as a player. When people hear you play, they know it's you.
Yeah.
And so, of course, as a kid growing up, I loved Ricky Skaggs and Vince Gill, Steve Wariner, Danny Gatton, a lot of the country guys, Albert Lee. But when I hit my teen years, man, I listened to Steve Vai, Metallica, Joe Satriani, just a huge list of rock players as well.
Yeah.
And then of course, who doesn't love Stevie Ray Vaughan? Stevie really impacted the way I played, with his blues style, and of course I love B.B. King and Albert King and Don King. And I'm teasing. I'm sorry. I've just had to throw that in there. Sorry, but I really I just love blues. I love the soulful feeling of blues. People think, well, Johnny's a chicken picker. He can't play soulful. Well, I beg to differ, because that's what guitar is all about. And I like to take my emotions out on a guitar, Steve.
Yeah.
I don't know if you do, but I know for myself, man. If I'm having a bad day, man, I'll want to go down and rip off some old Megadeth tune and just crank it, But if I'm feeling down, I've recently lost both parents, and Kim, you can tell I spent a lot of time playing, jazz and blues, and people say, well, he said he's going to play the blues. Not well, you can feel blues in many different ways.
Right.
Let's say, but
well, let's play a little bit. Let's play some just a real slow blues, maybe an E.
Yeah, let's do that.
You just let her rip. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow, we're going to play a little bit more in just a minute, but it is now almost time to, it's almost 7:30, and 7:30 was the time that we were actually going to give away a guitar, our first guitar giveaway on live lessons. So we are trying to kick it up a notch for you guys. So I have a secret person that is actually, if you are logged in right about now, our moderator is going to pick a name at random, and he is going to let me know what that is. So we'll give him a couple of minutes to actually go through and do that. But what you are going to get is not the Gibson L5 that we have sitting here. The Gibson L5, we'll keep that one just for another contest. But what you're getting is actually this acoustic guitar. So it's an Epiphone acoustic. Great guitar to start out with and begin. And if you want it signed, we can sign it. But if you don't want it signed, that's absolutely cool too. So I know it's kind of, some folks are kind of weird about signing guitars. I know I always feel a little hesitancy when somebody. Does that happen to you as well?
Oh yes, very much so, man.
I will sign all kinds of things, but they hand me a guitar and I get all weird. I don't know what that is, but I'll sign all kinds of things.
We love the art behind guitar building, Steve. That's what it is.
It's true.
We love the beauty behind it. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I call my guitars my girlfriends. I tell people I had to marry my lovely wife Kimmy so that I could still have my girlfriends in the spare. They actually have their own bedroom in my house, which is kind of neat. So I have all my girlfriends.
I know I was playing. I have my normal Brent Mason Telecaster, Valley Arts Brent Mason model, and one of the guys said, "Oh, well, you should get Brent Mason to sign it because we have worked with him with our guitar gathering." And I thought, I love Brent. By golly, he's one of the great ones. But I don't want him to sign my guitar. That's my guitar. But
yeah.
But that's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So, all right, let's see if we have a winner. All right, the winner is Landon79. If you are Landon79, you have just won this guitar, and I have a little note here that you said you would like it signed by both of us. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's go ahead and sign that right now.
I'll mark it up.
I will get that for you.
We will mark it up. I have a stand around here somewhere, boys. I don't know what I did with it.
It's a little bit out of the shot there. Hang on a second. We've got one of our great tech guys going to help you with that.
Wonderful. Here, buddy, I'll just hand it to you. Thank you.
Here we go.
Oh man, look at this little man. This is beautiful. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Landon. You are our official winner of the guitar giveaway for tonight.
Wow. Nice. Nice guitar, man.
There you go.
Wow.
Johnny, if you could do the honors.
Where would you prefer it?
I don't know. It really has nothing to do with me.
Well, I'll tell you what. This won't rub off up this way, so let's do that. Let's do that, Steve, and then you can. I'll do it straight across, and then you can.
I'll be right underneath it.
There you go.
There we go, Landon. I hope you enjoy this. This is a lot of fun. Us being able to do this for you.
It's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Very cool. All right, Landon, we will send that out to you probably tomorrow or the next day, and you will have yourself a new guitar. How fun is that? That's great.
It's awesome, man. It's great.
Now let's take a few questions. We've had a couple of questions. Some guys have posted some things on the discussion board, so let's go ahead and get into some of these questions here. Bill H. was asking about vibrato. So
vibrato.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about vibrato, Johnny.
Well, you know, for me, as a chicken picker, you play so fast you don't really use vibrato. I'm teasing. Of course you use vibrato, but you know, honestly, I love to use vibrato in the same way that a singer would sing. You know, to get that real natural kind of And some people say, well, you kind of roll your finger, or there's certain techniques that people say they use. But for me, it's just whatever feels natural. If you're doing a bend, you know. Or, you know, you can make your guitar sound like a steel by doing.
What size strings are you using?
I'm using 9 to 42 elixirs.
9 to 42 elixirs.
Mm-hmm. And man, of course, I use 9s because I bend all over the place.
Yeah.
And but you know, vibrato is very important. You know, I think part of the soul that you you can put into guitar is by how you want your guitar to sing to you. And I refer to that in that way, Steve, because to me, when you hear a great vocalist sing, you know, it warms your heart. You know, you just go, man. You know, when you hear, you know, a great singer, you like Vince Gill or Steve Wariner, or you know, most great vocalists are using some form of vibrato, and I think it's important to actually use it within your guitar playing. You know, even if it's a little bit. You know, you don't have to go overboard with it, and you don't have to do it every note. But find that note that a singer would hold, and then hold it. You know.
Johnny, I've got a question for you. You have such an interesting technique. Let's talk about a couple of things here. Talk about you use a hybrid picking technique that uses your pick and as well as fingers that are plucking up, which requires a lot of fingernail usage. Things like that. Talk about your technique.
I use acrylic fingernails, man, and yes, for all you guitar players out there, you have to go to the salon and have these things painted on. And yes, in Nashville here, I know all the grandmas in the local salon that I go to on a first name basis. I haven't been fishing with their husbands yet, but I'll tell you what, it's kind of neat to go get these things put on, and once you do it, you will not stop using them. I know when and these will not pop off. These are not
and you have them on. Looks like
my
are
middle
finger and your ring finger.
Yeah, and honestly, the funny thing, man, is I used to use press-on nails.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was doing my first big NAMM show. Man, I had James Burton and George Clinton, and just a huge array of people around me. And I remember I was playing a Telecaster, and I was just ripping the thing as hard as I could. And James Burton's sitting from me away, so of course I see him, so I'm a bit nervous, you know. And all of a sudden I go to really hit the money note, if you will, and pop, the nail falls off, and it goes right down in the pick. You know, where the Telecaster has a metal bridge plate, right? Yeah. And of course the bridge pickup has slots on each side. So the nail goes down in the slot hole and sticks up just far enough to make the E string sound like a sitar. So it was like, and it just sounded like a sitar, and I was so embarrassed. So a friend of mine told me about acrylic nails, and trust me, gentlemen, all you men out there who love to play guitars, you women know about, women guitar players know about acrylics. But you gentlemen out there, trust me, it's great. When you can, scratch your lady's back, it's they have other uses. So it's not that bad of a thing, really.
And talk about your hybrid picking a little bit.
Well, honestly, I've been a big fan of James Burton for a long time, and James used banjo picks, back in the Elvis days and the old Ricky Nelson stuff. But for me, I saw Albert Lee use that hybrid style, and I saw Ricky use a bit of that hybrid style. And for me, it was okay. Well, what is the most traditional way to play? And so, for the country realm. And that's really what I was studying as a youngster. So yeah, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the hybrid style and if there were certain formulas to play. And of course, I learned 5-string banjo too growing up, and that really helped. However, when you're holding a flat pick, which I do, and I'm using Dava picks for those of you who are wondering, they're rubber gripped picks, and they're made by a company called Dava. And when you're holding a flat pick versus using a thumb pick, there's a huge difference in the stylistic way you approach it. So for me, I have the acrylics on my middle and ring finger, and most of the time, I will actually use my fingernails to pluck the string directly under my pick. Now, people say, okay, well that's good, when you're going from top to bottom, low E to high E, and I have they said, what do you do on the way back up?
Yeah.
And actually, it's based on a comfort thing on the way back down from high E to low E. So, same approach. I mean, my pick's always grabbing the note above, but it's more based on a comfort level thing. But there's actually an exercise that I teach folks when it comes to practicing to build strength in each finger on your left hand and to develop the hybrid style on your right hand. Mm-hmm. And essentially what it is it's just a hammer-on exercise where you utilize your first and second finger first. So your pick grabs the E string, and I'm just hammering on 4th to 5th fret. Then the fingernail grabs the A, pick grabs the D, fingernail gets the G, pick gets the B, and then I just flat pick all the way back down. Mm-hmm. Now people say, well, why do you flat pick? Because you got to keep your flat pick skills up too. Yeah. So it's just as important to. And then what I do is go 1 and 3. 1 and 4. Then 2 and 4. And if you're daring enough, you can do 3 and 4. But the most important thing is play clean. Play every note you can clean. These notes are so valuable, folks. You don't want to waste them. So, take the time. If you can't play it fast, slow it down and play it clean. And I would recommend using a metronome, too. Metronomes are really good devices for helping keep you in time. Yeah. I don't trust my foot anymore, Steve. Yeah. No, it doesn't keep good time. So a metronome really does help, and it's a great tool. And but once you get that, actually, I use that as a warm-up exercise before a show. Uh-huh. I'll have the guitar off, and I'll just be... Now, here's the other thing, folks. Back in the day, when I used press-on nails, I had to have each nail equally as good as the other. Uh-huh. So most of the time, you'll see me play using my pick and ring and middle finger, for when I'm doing something really fast. If you see me. It's mostly just pick and middle finger, right?
Right, and just to verify that, I'm actually looking at him, and he is just using just the top and mainly his middle finger. Hardly ever.
I think the thing about the hybrid style that confuses people is when they look at you, they think you're using both nails all the time.
Right.
Now, I don't want to confuse anybody here, so I will just say this: I had to get equally as good with both nails. So that I could use my pick and ring finger to play the same exact thing. So I played all that with the pick and ring finger. Yeah. Why? Because the press-on nail would pop off and I'd have to rely on the other finger.
That's right.
But most of the time I'm playing with the pick and the middle finger, and I'm only using the ring finger when I'm doing double stops. Or if I'm doing, like banjo rolls. Then I'll use the the ring finger to work in conjunction with the middle finger. So
cool.
Thank you for the question.
Wonderful. Let me get. Wow, there's so many things. We are not going to get to all this stuff. I'm going to try and go through these as fast as we can. Scott, 87 from Ventura, California. You asked, how did Johnny deal with his challenge of not having sight and playing a guitar? Reading notes and studio sessions, and how do you do that? Now that I get to thinking about that, how do you do that?
I'll be honest with you. I've been in Nashville, going on 16 years now, believe it or not. Yeah. It seems like years fly by. Years fly by when you're having fun. But to be honest with you, I've played on records with Ricky Skaggs. Ricky won a Grammy on Brand New Strings. I played on that album. Toby Keith's Honky Tonk You. Trick Pony. I forget the name of the album I was on with them. Randy Travis. I played on a number. Lynn Anderson, Janie Fricke. The list goes on. I've just had a wonderful, blessed career in the studio as well. But folks, I have never read a chart. I write the charts. Uh-huh. There's times where I've actually, like for bluegrass sessions or whatnot, if I was playing all the rhythm parts, that I would actually comp out. But I bring a chart in it's huge on big pieces of poster board with black Sharpie, and it looks stupid. But you know what? At
Gets
the,
the
end of
job done.
at the end of the day, no one ever sees the chart. It goes in the trash can, but the music lives on.
That's right.
So, and as far as my blindness, you know, that's a really hard question for me, and an emotional one at that fact, because it's never been easy dealing with blindness. You know, blindness is not fun. It's an affliction that I got to deal with every day.
Yeah.
But if I look back on my life now and said, wait, man, if I had perfect sight, would I probably play guitar the way I do? No, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
I think God gives blessings for things, and I can honestly say though that I never really had to work hard at playing music, Steve. And I guess there was a time I have developed, over teaching for a number of years, I've developed a style called the high-low-low-high pattern, which I'm really proud of. It's a way of teaching guitar that's way, way simple. It's from a lead standpoint, a lead guitar player standpoint. And basically what it did for me was allow me to be a lead guitar player in a band and still be able to keep my eyes on the pretty girls that walk in, or beer bottles being thrown at me, or to be able to just communicate with the band and not have to look when I play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I take it down to the most simple form of saying, well, every A connects. All the A's connect. So I'm like, if you can connect all the A's without looking, which I was kind of looking at you and off to wherever, my eyeballs go wherever they want to, folks. So I apologize if I'm. But nowadays I look at it as it's I try to be joking about it. About my eye condition, and I just try to walk around like a normal guy. Now, do I break my neck on occasion? Yeah, that's why I'm a big guy. So, but no, it's never been easy to deal with. But I've had ways of finding techniques to help me learn to not have to look when I play.
Yeah.
So, thank you for the question.
I've got a question. You mentioned something that I have often thought about this, and I've tried to explain it as best I can on our discussion board. Mm-hmm. We get a lot of folks that write in on the discussion board that talk about, as they're just starting, your fingers feel clumsy. My fingers are too big to fit in between the strings. They're too big to fit in between, as I'm making a chord, I have one finger that is touching the other strings on either side, and I just physically can't play because of that. And what I found in teaching, and I would love, Johnny, for you to talk about this as well, is that your fingers will find a way.
They will. They definitely will. I know guitar is going to be like anything else that you do. I feel weird using my foot to kick a soccer ball. It don't feel right to me. But a guy that's played 20 years, it's natural. Yeah. They can do tricks with the ball and stuff. I can barely kick it. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, don't give up on it. Yeah. Because even though your fingers feel clumsy now, the more you do it. I mean, I have steak fries for fingers, folks. I mean, look at those big old paws.
And just to put Johnny's hands are not any bigger or different than mine. They're probably about the same size, if not maybe a little small.
I've got chubby fingers.
And he's got kind of chubby fingers.
See, I've got a big palm and very short fingers, and they're wide. So trust me, folks. I've always had a hard time with these steak fries. But you know what? You make them work.
Yes,
and
do.
Honestly,
that's right.
But my real advice is don't give up.
Yes.
Because
that's
will not only, like Steve said, you will find a way. But you know what, folks? What it really boils down to is what's in here.
Yes.
The passion behind how bad do you want to play guitar? I mean, tomorrow. Look, here's another example. Yeah. I tell people with my blindness.
Yeah.
When I used to go to shows, I could never see anything. I couldn't see the band because I always, was up, up high. Couldn't see. I could never see the band.
Yeah.
And Mark Tremonti's playing in town tomorrow night. I'm going to hang with Mark, so I get backstage passes now for doing this for a living.
Yeah.
So, folks, it's really not that bad being a blind guitar player who's an artist nowadays. but what I'm saying, folks, is don't give up on the dream. If you have the dream, don't give up on yourself.
That's right.
There's one thing that my mom and daddy instilled in me is, you know what, pal, no matter who you are, nobody's better than you, and you're no better than anybody else, but you just do your thing and keep on the path that, keep on the path that you're dreaming. Uh-huh. Keep on that path and don't let anyone tell you that you can't do it.
Yeah.
Because I even gave my dad guitar lessons at one point, and taught him 3 or 4 chords. Here's my dad, a journeyman pipe fitter who hits his hands with, hammers, and he's had, welding welds actually hit him in the eye, where he comes home and he's got the,
Yeah.
I mean, he's hurt himself. My dad has passed on, God love him, but he hurt himself way more than I ever dream of. And he'd say, my fingers hurt playing this thing, I don't know how you do that, man. And he'd come out and he'd be, you put some cream on them fingers, boy. And I saw my daddy, I giggled at him because he gave up on it too quick, but my daddy didn't really care to play guitar.
Yeah.
He loved to watch me do it.
Yeah.
But if you have that dream inside, don't ever let anybody tell you can't. And don't get discouraged when you're in practice time and you're really putting the time in, because it's going to pay off.
That's right.
It's really going to pay off.
Johnny, we got a couple more. Eraser is asking about more of an audio issue, taming the hum, especially with single coil pickups, playing a number of venues. And how do you tame the AC hum?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm actually an ISP decimator is the best way. It's a pedal that will take out noise and not really gate your tone to where you can't strum a chord and have it sustain.
Yeah.
However, I have been playing, most people have seen me with a Paul Reed Smith guitar, and I used humbuckers in those guitars, obviously. Yep. With humbuckers, you don't get the hum. Mm-hmm. I'm back to single coils now, and I am dealing with that issue with David Allen, and it's not David Allen's fault. It's the nature of the beast.
Nature of single coils.
Single coils are going to have a natural buzz. However, I don't drink, so I tell people I get a buzz on in another way. But no, I'm teasing. But honestly, folks, it's something that you can mask. But the other thing that I'm actually going to is I'm gonna actually release a new dual blade pickup, which is a single coil, kind of structure of a pickup, but yet it's and we're actually going for the tone of a single coil. Yeah. And of course Danny Gatton used Joe Barden's. They're a dual blade in a single coil format. But dual blades actually give you the same kind of tele strat tone, but yet you lose the hum. Yeah. So I think if the hum is really bothering you, try humbuckers in your guitar. But man, for the country chicken picking thing, man, I'm back to using single coils, and I guess that's just something you have to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, a great question, though. Thank you.
John B. from Vermont asks, you get amazing cool steel guitar sound from bending the strings. Can you give us a simple exercise to practice a scale to get that, to practice your bends?
Oh, yeah, man. There's a couple of things that I'd love to show you, and I have a guitar here today that I've been actually doing bends with a floating tremolo. So obviously you hear the so, all right, if I had known I would have had a lot of bending questions, I would have brought I have a Ernie ball with a lockdown trem. But basically, take an A chord. I'll put it to you this way, folks. I love to bend so much, I would take the simple major scale and bend it. Mm-hmm. So
through what you just played there, just for a second.
So essentially what I'm doing is bending every possible note that I can and reaching the acquired note I'm looking for. Yeah. So I'm bending the A up to a B, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'm bending the C sharp up to the D, grabbing the D, bending it up to an E, right? Grabbing the F sharp, bending it up, which is a strain. I'm telling you,
it's tough.
It is, and then grabbing the A flat, bending it in, and then once I hit then I grab the A actually, and then have the B note, bend that up. But here's the trick, though: when you do
notice he's bending down.
Guys. Oh, yeah, bend down.
You can see that he's not bending up with the string. Well, he does sometimes, but he's bending down a lot of times.
Once I hit the B and E string, I bend up.
Yeah.
But the rest of them, I always try to bend down.
Yeah.
So basically, but when you bend it up to that major third, grab the note so that you can bend up to the fourth position. So what I'm doing is essentially going, but Now, there's a couple of different things that I'd love to show you double stops are a wonderful way to bend. And I have a couple of double stop exercises that I'd love to show you that'll help you with bends. The other thing I would recommend is bend chords. Like, for an example, if you have an A chord, where would you get your major third from? By bending bending the second note of the scale up to the major third, correct?
Yeah.
So play an A sus2, and then bend that up to a major third, which you're going to hear my tremolo throw it out a little bit. But and then find out ways that you can use that same position. So, like, for an example, a good old standard country intro, and now watch, I'm just leaving the A, I'm leaving the bar that I'm using on the D, G, and B string, and I'm not going to change positions at all. I'm going to move, but I'm going to keep that same bar in these different positions. So watch this. So you can do some very simple, cool country things. But I really want to show you these double stop scales because these things are so fun.
Yeah.
You can do them horizontally, you can do them vertically, because with every double stop, now what's a double stop? It's two notes played simultaneously, correct? Yeah. So you can do them this way. Now I'm just playing the major scale using a harmony note, right? Or you can play it this way. Now what people have to realize is these scales go on forever. You can continue these scales upward, you can continue them downward, and you can do them in many different facets. And that's really how I learned all the notes on the guitar.
Yeah.
But here's a cool thing. Here's some really cool exercises I'll teach you. Ghost notes are important in Chickin Pickin. So if you mute the strings on the 14th fret, on the G and B you have an A, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use our pick to do the ghost notes on the D. Now, ghost note's just a dead note. It doesn't matter where you place it, what you do with it. Yeah. It's dead. So now we're going to do single picking, double picking, and triple picking, and then I'm going to teach you how to bend the scale. All right? It's very easy. I'll just show it to you a couple of times, and you trust me, you'll all get it. Single picking is we're going to pick once with our pick on the D, and then pull the double stop. Double picking, same thing, but you're going to go down up on the ghost note and then hit it. Now, yes, I'm using my palm to mute all the other strings that I'm not hitting. So don't be afraid to lay your palm down if you can. Even with a floating trem, you can even do vibrato that way. Yeah. You can do little tricks like that. Now, the triple picking is the same thing. Now you're going down, up, down. And then the double stop. Alright, so have fun practicing those. Now we're going to take the same scale, and we have... Everyone see the scale? Make sure the scale's correct, right? Yep. Now what I'm going to do is this is really difficult when you first try this, so don't expect it to sound great right off the bat. But what I'm going to do is on the 14th fret, I'm going to bend the G up a whole tone, which is actually the G is going down in pull, but I'm not bending the B. So you're going to go... Now we're going to do a half tone bend on the second one. Which we're not going a whole tone, just a half tone. Then a whole tone. Then a bar on the, 9th fret. A bar on the 7. Half tone bend. Then a whole tone. And then a bar on the... Now what I'm doing is I'm bending it to where it sounds like this. which is actually adds the harmony note.
Yep.
So essentially, you have, this is exactly what you have, folks. You have I call this the one position, where you have the bars, right? So you have 1, 2, which is the half tone bend. So I'll just explain it this way. You have 1, 2. So let's go. We'll just say this is the root. Root, half tone, whole tone, whole tone, whole tone, half tone, whole tone, whole tone.
Right.
So they're only there's only 2 half tone bends in the whole scale. Yeah. So I don't want to confuse anybody with that. But what I like to say is when people say, "Well, I can never remember the full scale, Johnny," but it's so essentially this is the second position of how to place your fingers. So you have 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1. So if you can use little number patterns in your head to help you remember scales, that's always a good way for me to do that. So
now, can you take that? We're in the key of A right now. Johnny, can you take that little idea that you just did there and just go nuts with it for a second?
Well, I can show you how I can incorporate it.
How can you incorporate that into a chicken?
Well, if I was doing such a really cool sound to it, it's real fun to do, and I strongly encourage you all, if you have fun bending, I do it all the time, man, it's fun. Yes. I got addicted to it.
As we're closing up here, let's get let's do a couple of questions from you guys that are chatting here right now. So if you have a question, fire it at me here real quick, and we will do it. Steve or Johnny, how would a slide sound on a non-electric acoustic guitar? Jello Man is asking. Unfortunately, we don't really have our acoustics out here, so I might pass on that question of slide. Although, you can do slide on an acoustic guitar all the time, especially. Gosh, I've seen Jack Pearson do some amazing things.
Resonator guitars.
Resonator Nationals and all this. Yeah.
I think when you play it on a standard acoustic, the hardest part is to keep all the other notes, from being noisy around the slide. Yeah. So that's the only difficult part of it. But yeah, I recommend playing slide on acoustic. It's fun.
Yes. Any other questions? Amoroso is asking, will Johnny go to a gathering? Well, I did ask Johnny earlier today whether he could join us for our guitar gathering, and he can't. He's out of town.
I'm out of town. Yeah.
Out of town. Johnny was with us actually 2 gatherings ago, and it was a great workshop. He was sick as a dog.
Oh, my goodness. I still remember that cold, man. That was terrible.
He came and he played for our little group that morning here, and he was sick as a dog. And then I also saw him that night. I was at the back of the Ryman Auditorium, and he blew the roof off at the All-Star Guitar Night. Those of you who were there for our guitar gathering remember that.
Well, Steve, I'm going to try to maneuver my schedule a little bit, man, because I would love to come again and do that, man. I even though I was sick, I had a ball with you guys, and I know that is how just important it is to have things like the gatherings that you guys do, because it's important that we keep each other inspired to play and show guitar players from many different levels of playing that we're all in this together. We all need to stay a big guitar picking community, and just support each other. And I think it's a wonderful thing that Steve's doing, and I would love to be there. So if I could make that happen with you, I'll keep in touch, and we'll try to work that out.
Good. Well, we'll try and do that. Hey, as we close up, let me give you a couple of announcements here while we're talking about the guitar gathering. Our guitar gathering is June 22nd through the 26th. We're going to be downtown here in Nashville. Wow, if you can make plans to join us, we have got some amazing guitar players that are going to be with us again. We've got Rick Vito from Fleetwood Mac, and gosh, I just keep seeing Rick Vito videos of him playing with all kinds of great people. He's going to be doing a slide workshop. We've got Will McFarlane, who plays guitar for Bonnie Raitt and the Muscle Shoals Rhythm Section in the Musicians Hall of Fame.
Now I want to be here, Steve. I have to be here for that.
So Will's going to be here. He's going to be teaching a blues workshop. Who else do we have? We have Russ Barenberg, great flat-picking guitarist, bluegrass. Him and his trio, including Victor Krause from Allison Krause and Union Station, is going to be there. They're going to be doing a private evening concert for us. Speaking of concerts, Thursday night of the Guitar Gathering, we're going to walk literally down the street a couple of blocks and go see Vince Gill at the historic Ryman Auditorium. So I was able to get tickets and roll them into the registration price, so that's not going to cost y'all anything. So anyway, if you're able to come to the gathering, come. It is an absolute blast. I'm teaching group lessons and things like that. We'll also have some workshops on home recording and gear and pedals and things like that. A friend of mine, Brian White, is going to be teaching on songwriting, country artist, and he'll be teaching a little bit about songwriting as well. So if you can make it, spouses get in free. So come on down, come to the gathering with us. By the way, May 21st, which is a couple weeks from now, the early registration deadline happens. So if you can register before May 21st, it's going to save you $100. So you can still register after that, but it's just going to be $100 more. So anyway, Guitar Gathering, it's going to be great. If you can make it, drop what you're doing and come down and have fun doing something that you really love here in Nashville. It is an absolute blast.
I recommend it for sure.
Yeah, it's an absolute blast. Let's see what else we have. We just finished a photography course, Learn to Master Photography, and that is coming, is here, and it is out, and it's already going out the door. So for this week only, the guys are offering a $119 price on that, so it's usually, I think it's probably going to be $149 or $179, something like that. But anyway, this week only, it's $119, so if you have someone who's interested in learning how to do photography, it is a full-blown, from beginning to advanced photography techniques, just like a lot of the courses that we do. So we are going to have live lesson next week. We won't have Johnny, but we will be back here, and I'll be teaching some flat picking things, maybe even some classical things. I'm still debating on what we're going to do. Anyway, before we go, let us play out.
Yeah, actually, I have a few things I'd like to
yes, please.
shout out. I've got a brand new record, folks, coming out this July. I actually signed on with Shrapnel Records this year. The album's called All Fired Up. It's coming out in July. I'm really excited about that. And also, I'm partnered with a guy named Jason Macedo. We have a new guitar magazine that we do together called The Sound. So if you would like to check that out, you can check us out at thesound-guitarmagazine.com. And we urge you to come on and check us out and have some fun. The magazine is awesome, and it's given me another, it's keeping my guitar head about me even when I'm not playing guitar. So I'm having a real ball with it, and I really would love to have y'all come check it out. And of course, Steve, we'd love to support what you guys do too, man. Legacy's awesome, and I just really appreciate what you guys do, and really appreciate the support for all guitar players out there. So
yes.
So we got to keep the inspiration going, man. And again, thanks for having me here, Steve.
Oh, you bet. You bet.
Pleasure.
Let's see. Let's play. Get a little distortion on, maybe.
Oh, you pick it, brother. Let's go.
Maybe let's be an A. Let's go to... Good night, everybody. We will see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us.